Hello, sorry for the very late season 25 tier list, but this is the Survivor tier list for season 25. I didn't make one for season 24, so basically, the reason for that is because there was a lot of patches, like the, Persona trait patch, there was also the mech patch, and also, like, some buffs and nerfs with survivors and hunters, so I just decided not to do so. But yeah, we are here now for season 25, after seeing what happened last season, season 24, I'm quite confident in what I'm gonna say. So yeah, let's get into the tier list then, shall we? So first and foremost, Priestess and Friends. We know what that is. And then niche, the basic niche survivors. Tie hunters to chair. This goes with the name, because if the hunter ties your survivor to the chair, then you can tie the hunter to the chair. That's basically what it means. It's basically guaranteed tie, whether it's rebound kiting or second chase after you sell your survivor or not. Fourth one will be team dependent. It's basically I want to name the gamble, like gambling, but then I guess team dependent makes more sense, because if you play this character, you kind of have to depend on if your team knows what they're doing, or even like if you're playing this character and if your team like knows how to rescue or even knows how to kite for a certain amount of time, which is why this is more of a team dependent tier. And then last but not least, espresso depresso. It's just in the name as well, they're probably high on caffeine because they are quite underwhelming. But let's get into the tier list then, shall we? First and foremost, we'll have Lucky Guy. Lucky Guy will be espresso despresso. I do know some people are going to be like, but hey, why is Lucky Guy bad? He can hold 2 items, and I've been playing Lucky Guy a lot, and as someone who's reached S-Badge Lucky Guy. But at the end of the day, if I have a tier that's called team dependent, which is basically depending on your luck, which are randoms, Lucky Guy will be a little bit below that, because first and foremost, like, if Lucky Guy spawns near the hunter, and whenever he wishes for an item, if he gets a needle, then he's basically screwed over, right? Because like he'll definitely get down like within blink time, let's be honest. Having nothing to use to kite us and rely heavily on luck, it does suck a little bit for a Lucky Guy. And of course, it's also with the fact that, like, number one reason, it depends on where you spawn when you're not in tier 7. And number 2, even when you're in tier 7, you will most likely become first chase. So it's going to be very hard for you to get your second item unless the hunter is very far away from you, in which then of course you can open a chest and then start rotating to a better area to contain before the hunter finds you. Once again, Lucky Guy is highly counterable, because whenever there's a Lucky Guy on the field, hunters can either just choose, a high mobility hunter in which you can chase up to Lucky Guy pretty darn fast, make him use his items pretty darn fast, and then immediately blink down. He has no rebound kite potential, sadly, because he's no items. Of course, you may argue Toy Merchant coming in to help him. Yeah, that could work, but also what if Toy Merchant has a needle? Still luck dependent at the end of the day. But like, once again, I would say, if he doesn't have a good early game, I don't see the point of a Toy Merchant coming in to rescue you before half or after half, because that's kind of just wasting your decoding time in a nutshell if he downs really fast. So yeah, Lucky Guy is quite below average, which is why he's a part of Espresso Depresso. He doesn't really have that much debuff, except just for the fact that he doesn't really have items to guarantee his early game, unless he can get the items like 30 seconds into the game, which also costs your decoding time as well. So yeah, there you have it for Lucky Guy. For Doctor will also be Espresso Depresso, but not worse than Lucky Guy. The problem with Doctor is the fact that there are better characters out there better than Doctor. We could argue that Doctor counters Dream Witch, and Doctor counters Mad Eyes, Doctor counters Joseph, but that's all that there is to Doctor. Right, there is still better options, like let's say with the likes of a Priestess or a Barmaid. They are also very good choices. But Doctor like may have gotten like a buff with you can get a 25% movement speed boost if I'm not wrong when she gets hit. But at the end of the day, once again, if we compare it to a Barmaid who can heal while run, and a Priestess who basically heals very fast or can do global heals, Doctor is very underwhelming in this case scenario. Moving on, we will have Lawyer. Lawyer will become a little bit more team dependent now. Why would Lawyer be a little bit more team dependent? It's cause Lawyer does have the ability to look at map to know where the hunter is. I think that helps out quite a bit. I think that helps out quite a bit with your team, depending on if you're in a 4-man team or not. He also doesn't get terror shocked, so it's quite nice of him to bring like Windows Vault knee-jerk reflex, I guess. I think that's what's the persona called now, but it's good for him to bring knee-jerk reflex. And it's also the fact that whenever he gets hit, he also gets, you know, veteran speed boost, so that's good for him as well. Lawyer gains a 20% decoding speed buff, but once again, as I've said, all this really goes downhill. All this really goes downhill when like area selection mode is on for you at tier 7. So for Lawyer, it's more of a team dependent here for this one. There's still better decoders out there, like, you know, a prisoner, mechanic, like I would say Postman and female dancer would probably be better at what a Lawyer does. Because like at the end of the day, in high tier, when there is area spawn selection, is Lawyer useful? No, not really, because they know where the hunter is. Oh, it's only useful if they want to know which type of hunter it is. So yeah, at the end of the day, nah, not really. He doesn't really have any items to help him contain, similar to Lucky Guy, but like because of the map, I think, because of the map, I will put him on team dependence just because it's a little bit stronger than Lucky Guy, but then when it goes to tier 7, it's a whole different story. When area selection mode is on, it's a whole story. Moving on, we will have Thief. I'm gonna put Thief on Time Hunter's chair for now, but I still think that Thief is actually high niche. He's very close to Priestess and Friends for this season. There's a small reason for that, and there's a small reason as well for why he is actually why I'm saying that. Reason number 1 is Thief counters every type of hunter out there. Genuinely speaking, he counters every type of hunter out there, especially with the fact that it only takes you 1 second to lock the hunter skill, and when the hunter skill is locked, the cooldown is also locked. That means you can't stack bombs, you can't stack your statues. Geisha's butterfly can't regen, Clerk Scrolls can regen, BQ's mirrors can't regen, but it's also the fact that your trait, like the hunter's trait, for example Blink, that will also not go into cooldown, which is why it's so annoying from Thief. It's also the fact that this season Weber's Law came out, which means increased 20% movement speed boost when the hunter's near you for 3 seconds. This basically allows Thief to contain, like create distance from you and flash a light at you for like a continuous 5 seconds. Right? That is A, annoying, B, very good for Thief mains because they can activate this 20% movement speed boost for a period of 5 seconds without, you know, any conditions that needs to be met, and the conditions really are only if the hunter's near you. That is godforsakenly annoying to deal with. Thief counters every type of hunter right now except for Anne. Thief does also counter Breaking Wheel, because you need to think about it this way, right? Breaking Wheel, open area, Thief any survivor can kite a Breaking Wheeling open area without tight spaces. Now think about it this way, whoever's in open area, Breaking Wheel just change to human form and try land a hit. No, not with Thief. Just flash a light and maintain enough distance, you can't do anything. It's 2 seconds, it's only 2 seconds to sleep the hunter. And it's to blind the hunter, and it's only 1 second to lock the skill. Think about that, 1 second. That is short as hell, and only 2 seconds. You also need to think about the fact, like when Weber's Law, even if there's no Weber's Law, it's going to be very hard for hunters to even land a normal hit on the Thief, because A, his flashlight consumption is so darn slow. As in, he can use it for like over 60 seconds. He can use it for 60 seconds, let's say, but he doesn't need to use it for 60 seconds. He only needs to use it for like 5 seconds, and then you're stunned for like 2 seconds. And then by the time that you're finished being stunned, you're finished being blinded, he's already so far away from you. And you need to catch up again, and then it's the whole rinse and repeat. What can you do about it? Most likely nothing. He counters walks to a certain extent. He counters Breaking Wheel to a certain extent. Well, I say he highly counters him. Also counters Bloody Queen if it's tight kiting. Also counters Geisha counters. Like, it counters all the hunter pool out there. like chip hunters especially. Hermit probably not. Hermit probably counters thief, but like the only hunters in general that counter thief is Hermit and those are the only two I can think of right now. The second problem with thief is he can become a guaranteed rebound kiter. He can counter chip hunters when it comes to rescuing. Basically, one rescuer comes and then thief just flash a light behind the hunter's back, immediately skill lock. What can you do? No countering you. And then when you hit the rescuer, the survivor on chair gets rescued and thief is basically acting like a novelist and keeps flashing light on you. What can you do? Nothing. So like thief is on the borderline of Priestess and friends, even though I'm gonna say very very high niche anti-hunters to chair, mainly because I need a little bit more info on this. But yeah, thief is getting so darn annoying right now. It's gonna be really hard to counter him from a 4-man team view. But like even if you're not in a 4-man team, if you basically just do what I said, it's gonna be like easier said than well, it's not easier said than done, but it's definitely easily done, considering the fact that a lot of thief mains now do bring flywheel. Because of the fact that they're a tight kite main, you can't hit them in open area. You can't also hit them in tight areas as well, because they're just gonna flash at you. They flash at you for if you look at them for 2 seconds while they flash at you, you can't even close the distance between yourself and the thief unless you get blinded. And when you get blinded, what can you do? Nothing. So either thief gets a nerf or he's gonna stay on top of like a lot of hunters, in all honesty. So yeah, that's my take on thief for this one. Moving on, we will have Gardener. Gardener will also be team dependent in my opinion. I wouldn't put Gardener on Espresso Depresso anymore, just because I feel like I just feel like Gardener's bubble is quite useful from time to time against single hit hunters. Like you can basically time the bubble in which like you only have to stand for 1 second, or even like 0.7 seconds I think. And then the bubble will immediately come out, which is basically during the hunter's attack animation swing. So that's kind of like a free owl for you, but at Gardener's own expense. But of course we know the problem with Gardener is really chip hunters, which is why it's kind of team dependent as well. Gardener doesn't really have that much debuff, aside from the fact that when she dismantles chair, her location gets revealed, which I think is a fair trade. And it's also the fact that it depends on if the team knows where they need to down at, right? So let's say if you're chaired near double 11 at Lakeside Village, so basically near the small boat, and you get chaired there. So basically what happens is Gardener comes to rescue you, dismantles the chair, and then dismantles the second chair near double 11. So dismantles one chair near spawn boat, one chair near double 11, and then there could potentially be a third chair near the corner cipher. Right, so Gardener has to like dismantle those 3 chairs at least for you to guarantee you that you can struggle free. And of course it depends on if the team brings will to survive for this one as well. It also depends on Gardener if she can time it well with her bubble so that she can go and destroy the chair again before the hunter picks you up. And of course this also depends on if your teammates bring sticker or not. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of uses for Gardener, but it really depends on the teammate and on the hunter as well, where the hunter chairs your teammate. If the hunter chairs your teammate in middle, you kind of have to like dismantle all the chairs nearby. But there's also the fact that hunters may bring not quenching fist, but the balloon struggling speed reduction persona, in which I forgot the name. Giant Claw. Hunters may bring Giant Claw as well, so once again it's really dependent on how this goes. But of course if you're pairing up a Gardener with a Cowboy, Gardener with a forward, I'm sure that it will work really well, which is why I don't think Gardener is really Espresso Despresso. So Gardener will be team dependent here. Moving on will be Magician. Magician will be niche. Magician will be niche in my opinion. I think he's just a very strong survivor overall after buffing from 2 to 3 wands. Each wand gives him a 40% movement speed buff if I'm not wrong. So that's kind of like equivalent to half a window speed boost, because it's only 2 seconds when you use a wand. Meanwhile a window it lasts for 5 seconds, right? But at the end of the day, if Magician has 3 wands and each wand is 10-second cooldown, let's say, I would say if you use each wand during the hunter's animation, of course you need to time this well, but like I'm sure most Magician can do it. If you manage to time this well, then it's going to be really hard for hunters to basically hit your main body during invisibility mode. Of course, I know you're gonna say, but Kudo, sometimes when I use my illusion between palettes, the hunter can still go through the palette. Well, that's kind of a hunter dependent thing, because like for Anne, you can't really body block Anne. She's too skinny to body block through 10 places, so she can't get past you easily. But if it's the likes of Bonbon, Undead, or even Gala, yeah, that would definitely work. But it's just some hunters, you know, they can get through you. But of course, if you're going against the Anne, you can basically just put your put your illusion between the palette so that she gets stuck when she jumps. There you go, that's that for Anne. And there's also a lot of other ways to counter hunters as well. Maybe for wax artists it may be a little bit harder, but I would say magician is still a really darn nice container. You can run flywheel on him, you can run with knee-jerk reflex on him, or you can run tight on him. He's quite universal when it comes to persona. So yeah, there goes me for teeth. Moving on, we will have Explorer. I will put Explorer to tie hunters to chair. Simply because Explorer is like, I won't disagree with the fact that area selection mode plus Explorer equals to bad, but also area selection mode plus Explorer, if you put him like somewhere unexpected and the hunter chooses an area in which it's very far from the Explorer, that hunter's never gonna find the Explorer. He's never gonna find the Explorer. He's gonna waste too much time to find the Explorer. That's one reason why Explorer is a tie hunter's chair. Second reason mainly would be because of the fact that Explorer, like, his location gets revealed when he picks up a page, but usually Explorer mains can locate where the hunter is when using his own book, so he shouldn't really be too afraid. And even if Explorer does get fined after digging up his book, a Mercenary or any rescuer can just come and pick it up, right, and basically finish decoding their cipher. So that's basically a guaranteed 3 cipher done by the time you are eliminated or returned to the mainer. But also, it's very hard to find an Explorer after you chair someone. So think about it this way. Imagine you're running let's say you're running a Lucky Guy, Explorer, Mercenary, and let's say maybe a Prospector team comp, right? After the hunter chairs the Lucky Guy, what would be best really is the hunter looking for you. But can the hunter really find you? I wouldn't say so. That would be very hard to do. If the hunter really wants to find you, then with the 2 remaining ciphers, Mercenary can Prospector can definitely get a cipher done on time because the hunter's wasting time to look for you. And also, Mercenary can come rescue again because he doesn't really need to be healed, and he still does have elbow pads, so we can save when it's critical for you as an Explorer who is on chair. Which is why like Explorer is more tie hunters to chair for this one. But of course, when it comes to area selection mode, you need to be a little bit more wild with your spawn selection. But of course, you can just choose, you know, somewhere that's like really strong. Let's say you can just choose basically in hospital, just spawning hospital and then going mini form. Will the hunter come looking for you? Most likely yes, if it's a Naiad, but everyone else, nah, that's just a waste of time. That's genuinely just a waste of time, honestly. So yeah, Explorer will be tie hunters to chair. Moving on, we will have Mercenary. Mercenary will be a Priestess and Friend simply because no Terror Shock, 3 elbow pads, guarantee rescue. He doesn't really have to move away from the cipher unless necessary. He can give a lot of pressure to the hunter because of his elbow pads, because if he's near a wall and if hunters want to walk up and hit him, well, is he gonna allow you to do so? No, not really. He can elbow pad straight into the chair because you're too far away from the chair, so then that will become a no damage rescue. Or, you know, because of it's a no damage rescue, then what will happen is, you know, he can come rescue again, so he doesn't really have to leave his cipher, and the other 2 survivors can just keep decoding non-stop, cipher rushing the ass out of the hunters. So yeah, Mercenary is just great overall. Genuinely speaking, great overall. His only debuff really is, well, he has 2 debuffs. First one is heal, and the second one is decoding debuff. But you know, at the end of the day, because of his like very high guarantee rescues, it's worth it. It's genuinely speaking worth it for a Mercenary. There are the odds that, you know, Gala, Bonbon just somehow, I don't know, Gala, Bonbon, Bane, the Gamekeeper, Terror Shock him, but that's really low. I think that's still really low. That's still really low chance of that happening. So Merc is always, you know, the best pick when it comes to rescuers. Moving on, we will have Coordinator. Coordinator will be moving down a tier. Coordinator will be moving down a tier for me, sadly. The thing with Cordy is I can't put a coordinator on niche anymore when the survivor persona has been dropped. This basically means that if a Cordy do decide to bring Flywheel, then what will happen is you may have Weber's Law, but you don't have a palette speed boost anymore, so you can't contain as long. But if the Cordy brings window speed boost, then Cordy only has one item. Of course, it solely depends on Cordy's personal skill and how she contains each type of hunter. It's really hard on Cordy right now, but Cordy can at least guarantee you a 60-second kite or a rebound kite if she decides to not use her gun, in which I think, you know, fair is fair. If she doesn't use her gun, then she can definitely rebound kite, so it's going to be almost always a guaranteed tie unless she fails her gun. Well, that just depends on the Cordy, of course. If you're a good Cordy, then you're almost always guaranteed a tie. Because of the persona debuff, I can't put her on niche anymore, just because of she only has one item. But of course, it's because she is quite easy to use as well. She only one tap gun, and then, you know, quite 5 seconds stun if I'm not wrong, or maybe 3 seconds stun, 3 to 4 seconds stun, and then she can rotate somewhere, use the window speed boost again, and then just contain for a little while before going down. And also, it's just the fact that if she is main rescuer, she is like kind of like a guarantee rescuer as well, unless she shoots a wall. Unless she shoots the wall, then that's a whole different story. But like, she can usually go and rescue for a very safe guarantee rescue, or she can take a hit rescue and then gun to allow the survivor to rebound kite. Or if she gets a no damage rescue, then she can follow the survivor around and harass a little bit, so then it wastes the hunter's time to chair the survivor onto the chair, and then gun the hunter if the hunter decides to pick up, or gun the hunter if the survivor has nearly been healed up, like 99% heal. So yeah, I would say Cordy is Tie Hunter's to chair. I will put her on niche, but I think for this season she is a little bit more underwhelming. Especially with the fact that addiction is a thing as well now. Addiction just counters a lot of survivors, I think. But at the end of the day, you know, season 23 harasser team was disgusting. Lol. Moving on, we will have Priestess. Priestess will be a part of Priestess and Friends. I don't need to explain why. Priestess may have a nerf with the 10% stun reduction when it comes to hunters going through portals. But at the end of the day, Priestess's main goal is to not stun hunter. It's to allow survivors to rotate to a better area, or it's to go rescue from like a far distance, or it's to long portal so she can heal the survivor who is on ground because of a Joseph, or just heal a rescuer ASAP without traversing through the map. Very similar to Psychologist, but long portal can be used until the hunter destroys it. I say you can basically run anything on a Priestess. You can run anything on a Priestess. You can run Tide, Flywheel, Window Speed Boost. It really just depends on you. Because of Priestess's healing buff as well, like 10% increase in healing, I think that's pretty nice when you pair it up with Merc. And of course, Priestess is very strong in big maps. In small maps, not as much, because hunters can traverse around it easier and faster from like one end to another. But in big maps, she's still very strong. I'm not gonna put her on niche. She is strong. I think we can all acknowledge it. She's even strong in Red Church, which is considered as a small map, because of the fact that she can put portals in the middle of a church. With those portals are and very annoying to deal with. But yeah, Priestess is still very good overall, still a part of the meta right now. Moving on, we will have Mech. Mech will be a part of Priestess and Friend now. And I think I can say this without people judging me, right? I think the thing with Mech is, right, Mech is now more viable because of area selection. Mech is also more viable because of the persona adjustment, in which now if she does decide to bring Flywheel, she can still get the pallets, like the vaulting speed boost. So that simply just means she doesn't have any vaulting debuff, in which she can just vault freely like all the other survivors. So she can't get terror shocked as easily. Of course, I know there's a 16-second cooldown on that, but once again, if you do decide to vault over something, you're probably never gonna vault back to that again, unless you're getting like mind gamed really darn hard. But once again, if you're really getting mind gamed, no, I don't think it's worth it to vault back. You should just probably walk in a straight line. But once again, Mech can decode on chair. Mech can decode as quite. I think she has a decoding buff, right? She can maybe she. I think she does have a decoding buff. She can decode a little bit of a higher decoding speed compared to the average survivor, but of course when her teammates get hit, it reduces it to I think 70% decoding speed, and then when the teammates gets hit again to 40%, maybe it's 60% and then 40%. But because of mech stall, even if you hit it once, you'll have another one. Because of mech stall and because of high tier as well, it's going to be like high tier survivors know how to kite. So if mech does deploy a doll down and the doll decides to decode and the mech is rotating around, if the survivor still hasn't been hit when the mech is on the cipher, basically what will happen is you'll have one doll in which it decodes at normal speed, which is pretty darn fast. You know, hunter games, pretty darn fast for us, and you have a mech who decodes at a above average decoding speed, which is still very scary. And by the time you get someone down, mech stall will probably be already done a cipher, and then mech cipher will probably be at 70% because she's controlling the doll while decoding herself as well. So it's kind of like saying, okay, you're chasing one person, but then there's 4 person on the field decoding a cipher. Imagine that. And because of the fact that if there's a mech on the field and you want to chase a mech first, you need to get rid of the doll for presence, of course, but because of the fact that mech does have 2 dolls, like if you hit it once, she can summon it again. If you hit it, so that means you just have to hit it twice, so you need to hit a mech 4 times before it goes down. Think about it, if you hit a mech 4 times, by the time she goes down, it should be at least a guarantee tie. Or more. 3.5 ciphers should be done by then, and it's also the fact that the hunter has to look for where the mech doll is, if that's the case. So at the end of the day, if the hunter sees the doll, great. If he doesn't see it, then sad for you. I guess the mech can just stay on the chair for 20 seconds, get rescued for 20-second tie time, finish decoding a full cipher by herself. With 1 remaining cipher, there'll be 2 survivors on that cipher, and they'll be speeding that darn cipher, and by the time that the second rescuer comes, the cipher is primed. Yeah, I say mech is still pretty darn strong, and of course you can deploy mech stall near the gate, in which all of them do endgame, so you have at least someone near the gate and opening the gate, so you can get at least a guaranteed 3-man escape. So yeah, that is mechanics, still a part of Priestess and Friends, and I can say with no shame. Moving on will be forward. I would have put forward on Priestess and Friends, but this season I won't. I really won't, and I will explain why. You know what? No, he's still annoying to deal with. Lol, he is still very annoying to deal with. Lol. 4 will be a part of Priestess and Friends as well. I probably will be dropping him down to niche very soon, but I still have to investigate a little bit more. But let me explain to you why. 4 is a part of Priestess and Friends. As of now. Forward wanting to be, I want to put forward in niche because of the fact that mischievous is a thing. So mischievous is basically balloon picking speed is increased by 20%. It hurts a lot for a forward. Second reason is addiction. Addiction counters a forward because if there's 2 survivors nearby, the hunter basically gets a 20% stun recovery. Reason number 2. So those 2 counter forward really are hard. First, it comes with a balloon rescue. So forward can't pull a very long ball anymore when it comes to balloon rescuing, because you know hunters pick them up very fast. Second reason is if forward does decide to harass, the stun duration won't be as long because of addiction and because of rage and because of berserk. And also it's the fact that if you do decide to run insolence, so there's a persona on the insolence patch in which your knockback effect is reduced by 24%, well 8, 16, 24%, and slowdown effects is reduced by 8, 16 and 24%. That also counts forward, which is why I'm thinking forward's being counted quite a lot. But at the end of the day, those are all the cons. The pros are he's still an annoying piece of harasser. He may decode slow, but if he's being chased, he can at least kite for pretty darn long. And I think it's also the fact that the presence of forward is very scary. But I wouldn't put him on anywhere near high niche. I'll put him on very it's like between the borderlines of Priestess and Friends and niche, but I'm just gonna put him on Priestess and Friends. Right, because I haven't seen, like, we haven't seen any tourneys yet of forward really struggling in tourneys just yet because of these new persona buffs. So for now it'll be Priestess and Friends, but I think high niche personally. Moving on, we will have TME. TME, I would say tie hunters to chair. I would say that. Now, why would TME be a TIE Hunter Stitcher? Why I think TME is better than Lawyer? Reason number one is because of the vaulting debuff. Basically, the vaulting buff persona that Survivor has right now, TME can't be terror shocked as easily, which I think is great. Second reason is area selection mode. Yeah, area selection mode, honestly. TME is good. TME is really good in area selection mode, but she is really bad when there's no area selection mode. It's simply because of the fact that she can choose where she spawns. So if she spawns in somewhere where it's like really good for kiting, like let's say God Kite, or let's say hospital, let's say graveyard. Excuse me. Let's say graveyard. She can at least contain you for a little while, let's be honest. And it's also the fact that because of TME's existence, you can't really ignore it, right? You can't really ignore it. And it's also the fact that, you know, all the spawn area, all the kiting areas that I just told you guys about, they have high walls, in which it means that TME can't get mind gamed, because, you know, she can see through walls because of her Arcane ability. So she can at least contain for 60 seconds. Right, so it's like she can genuinely at least guarantee a 16-second containment for you, unless it's a very bad TME, or unless it's a very scary darn hunter, then that's a different story. But of course, if we're on the same level, if the hunter and survivor is on the same level, I would say TME is more of a, you can at least guarantee a 60-second kite, I would say, whether you brought flywheel or knee-jerk reflex. Now, another reason why she is a part of tying Hunter Stitcher is really because if you decide to not chase her first, you're basically gonna get your ass rushed. You're gonna get your ciphers rushed really darn hard. So yeah, maybe I'm wrong on the TME. I would like to see everyone's comment on the TME, but I feel like because of the fact that she can choose her spawns, because of the fact that when she chooses her spawns, all the good spawns have high walls and a lot of, you know, palettes to utilize, I would say she's at least a guaranteed tie, a TIE Hunter Stitcher. Moving on, we will have Perfumer. Perfumer will still be a part of niche, I guess. It's not that Perfumer is bad or anything. Perfumer got a buff recently as well, with the whole, your perfume was supposed to be 10-second cooldown duration, but now it's reduced to 9. That 1 second may not seem like a much, but it genuinely is a lot. It helped out Perfumer mains a darn lot. So Perfumer mains can kite really well. So they can at least get 3 perfumes out before 60 seconds, I guess. They can at least get their 5 hits in and force the blink out, I guess. But the problem with Priestess is because of giving presents at the end of the day, still in my opinion. Like think about a max presence sculptor, max presence feaster, max presence any hunter in general is scary. So Perfumer needs to contain more than 60 seconds if she uses all 3 of her perfumes. But it's also the fact that if Perfumer gets hit during perfume's back, and the hunter decides to blink hit, you're basically 1 perfume gone. She's still counterable by Gala, by Feaster, by, you know, all the others. Of course, I'm not saying that they, like, Perfumer can't counter these type of hunters. Perfumer definitely can counter Gala, Perfumer definitely can counter Feaster. Countering Bonbon may be a little bit harder. But to a certain extent, she can kite Bonbon. To a certain extent, of course. But once again, not a part of Priestess and Friends, because she's more of a self-sufficient than a, you know, guarantee this, guarantee that. Compared to Priestess, Global Portal, yikes. Compared to Mech, just decode on chair, yikes. Compared to Merc, guarantee rescue, yikes. Compared to Forward, a really darn good harasser, yikes. So yeah, Perfumer will be more of a niche for me. Moving on, we will have Cowboy. Cowboy will also be a part of TIE Hunter Stitcher. Now, I wouldn't really put Cowboy on niche because of Giant Claw, and because of the fact that if Cowboy was first chased, can he contain Lon? Really depends on the Cowboy, and if there's like pallets to utilize, and depends on the hunter as well. But he wouldn't be a part of team dependent as well, because I feel like Cowboy lassoing towards pallet areas or ciphers, that distance created does help him quite a bit. And also, he's not really team dependent, because, well, he could be team dependent, but he also doesn't need to be team dependent, right? Because like the survivor can just stand somewhere near a corner or just somewhere in an open area, and the hunter is basically forced to pick the survivor up. If it's in an open area, then great, you can lasso easier because there's no high walls to block your way. If it's in a corner, great, because the hunter needs to pick him up in a corner and it's easier for you to lasso because you can basically predict where the hunter will go. So Cowboy will be more than team dependent. I will put him more on niche because his second containment, like if he's a second chase, then he can definitely contain for a long time because of his lasso. If he's a rescuer, he can definitely also harass after chair time because he is a long range harasser. He wouldn't be a part of niche though because I don't think he's really that self-sufficient. Like you may say, okay, he uses his items, all his items, he can like guarantee you to be a niche survivor, but like still at the end of the day, there is still a lot of ways to counter a Cowboy in my opinion. One is Giant Claw, two is he may create distance, but also hunters with distance creating abilities like Geisha, Woo Woo, Undead. A little bit harder to counter those type of hunters. So yeah, Cowboy will be more tie hunters to chair for this one. He can at least guarantee you a tie. I think that's good enough. I genuinely think that's good enough. Moving on, we will have Female Dancer. Female Dancer will be a part of niche. Female Dancer will be a part of niche instead of tie me to tie hunters to chair now. Why is that? It's because the Female Dancer can bring a lot of personas, and she is not only self-sufficient but also meta countering and also annoying and also a really good support globally. Well, not globally, but like, you know, she can basically deploy stuff down and annoy the hell out of the hunters. Now, why is Female Dancer niche? Female Dancer's slow music box is hella annoying. Female Dancer's fast music box is also hella annoying. Fast music box basically can counter all the aim type hunters, and slow music box basically counters all the high mobility hunters. Now, if you would ask me, Female Dancer can run flywheel because of Weber's law. If the hunter is nearby, Female Dancer basically gets her extra speed boost, goes near a pallet, deploys the slow music box, puts the pallet down. Well, the hunter is basically forced to break that pallet and destroy the music box. And imagine Female Dancer doing that for the next two music boxes. Well, it's gonna take a while for the hunters to get a hit, isn't it? Yup, it is. And it's also because of the fact that, like, if Female Dancer comes as a support rescuer, all really what she has to do is deploy 3 music boxes down, and then when 3 music boxes has been deployed down, you basically move slower than the survivor. By that time when that happens, you move way slower than the survivor. So she is like a rebound kiter, but very darn strong. Very darn strong. And it's kind of like, if the hunter decides to break one of your boxes, you can pick one up and then dance away because there's a second box still there for you as well, right? But of course you may say, hey, it's not really practical to do that. It works really well. It works really well. I have experienced this firsthand. It works so well. It genuinely works really well. But of course, if we have seen tourneys as well, slow music boxes in the middle of the map really does hurt. Hunters are not allowed to blink. Hunters basically are forced to break the boxes beforehand, and by the time that they actually finish breaking the boxes, the survivor will be like 10,000 miles away from you. So good luck on chasing up to the survivor and finding where they went. Yeah, Female Dancer is very darn scary. But of course, when it comes to support and rescue aside, I say you can run, like as I've said as well, run anything on Female Dancer. She just basically works really well. She also counters to current day meta. She counters Mama, she counters Sculptor. Sculptor is not really meta, but you know, she counters Sculptor. She also counters Naiad, because when Naiad puts down, like when Naiad basically gets a harpoon back, she can dance away from Naiad. She counters BQ, but that's only during BQ's attack animation when she dances away, so that's a lot of practice there for you to use. I'm So Sexy from Korea server is definitely one of the best examples of that. I think he's the one that brought Dancer into meta for CN server, if I'm not wrong. I mean, he could be, because his Dancer is really something else. And what else is there? Like, who else? Undead, yeah, I don't have to explain why, just Taikai. And a lot of other hunters overall, honestly, a lot of hunters overall. Clerk as well, Dreamwitch to a certain extent, yes. Who else is there? Who else is a part of meta now? Dreamwitch, Clerk. I don't know. Wax Artist as well. Yeah, Wax Artist as well to a certain extent, but not like that well, but like to a certain extent. Not better than countering Clerk, Gala with the likes of that. But yeah, still very niche. Female Dancer is very niche. Moving on, we will have Seer. Seer will be part of Priestess and Friends. I will not explain why, because I think we all know. I know what y'all gonna say. But Seer only has an 8-second cooldown, 8-second owl time now instead of 15-second owl time now. Oh yeah, randoms. Listen, he's still so annoying to deal with. Imagine this. Right, you're supposed to be getting someone down in 60 seconds, but then you ended up getting them down in 90 seconds because of a Seer. Think about it. And it's also the fact that a Seer doesn't really always have to look at someone who's at half health. Right, they can just type help me and the Seer immediately looks and then either blocks the hit or blocks the blink. Right? So like, the problem with Seer is the global owl, the global tree hit. When, like, usually with the likes of BQ, Geisha, like any high mobility hunter in general, you usually should be able to land like 2 hits or like even like 1 hit before blink is ready. If you land 1 hit before blink is ready, you can either blink the survivor down or force the owl to come out first before blinking down. What does that mean? That means the survivor is going to be kiting for at least 80 seconds. Your 3 ciphers are almost done by that point. And you only need 2 more tie time to finish the last cipher, which is like 80 second, let's just say 80 seconds, 60 second chair time, 20 second tie time, with excluding the other 20 seconds. Your chair time is basically almost ready by that point. It's genuinely because of that fact, right? It's genuinely because of that fact. Or if you get like 1 hit very early and you're about to get your 2nd hit and the owl comes out, what does that mean for you? That means that you're forced to blink out. That's also very beneficial for a survivor if they force your blink out. That's great. That's genuinely great overall. Who cares? Who cares if the hunter took 2 hits? We can still tie this because his blink is forced out. So that means with the 2nd chase, it'll be a little bit harder for him to get any of us down now if we decide to sell the survivor. So because of the fact that global owl is a thing, like, of course I'm not saying you can't bait it, but even if you bait it, it's still a bit more beneficial to the survivor because that's an 8-second free time. And of course, like, survivor will definitely be in between pallets during that time. By the time, like, before 8 seconds is done, like 7 seconds, put down a pallet or vault the window, get your speed boost, and room to the very next kiting location. So yeah, I think Seer is still a part of Priestess and Friend, and it's also the fact that if you do decide to chase after a Seer, you need to consider this fact that, well, he's gonna tie kite me, then that means he's gonna suck owls off me. When he suck owls off me, he still has an owl on him as well, so like, if he can contain 60 seconds for you, by the time the rescuer comes to rescue before half, I would say the chances of a Seer getting his 2nd owl ready is pretty darn high. So yeah, that's Seer. Embalmer. Now, Embalmer would be a part of tying hunters to chair for this one instead of team dependent, in my opinion. I think for Embalmer, he's very low on this tier. He's basically the lowest of low, right? He is nearly on team. It's like the line between tie hunters to chair and team dependent. One reason is because of the persona adjustment, but also the second reason is really because, like, he's a part of tie hunters to chair because he can self-rescue, so he's a little bit self-sufficient there, which means that your ciphers can keep going. And if you're not able to rebound kite, they can basically sell you off, and it's kind of a guaranteed tie by them. Second reason is I have seen quite a lot of embalmers coming looking at a survivor who was either chaired, or like you usually see some embalmers running in a little bit early, looks at the survivor who is just chaired and then runs very far away, puts the coffin at the at the direct opposite side of the map, and then embalm, and then the rescuer comes and immediately embalm to the other side of the map. That has happened before, that definitely can happen before, which is why I'm also saying it's kind of a part of team dependent when it comes to that type of aspect. But because of embalmer self-sufficiency, just sell me. I can self-rescue myself. It doesn't matter anymore. Let's just get the tie. I think that's a really good trait from him. Like, whenever an embalmer is picked out, it's kind of like saying, I just want the tie. I don't want to aim for more from the survivor side, which is why it's kind of like tie hunters to share. But if you decided not to play it safe enough, then embalmer is going to utilize that aspect of the hunter's toss and be like, yeah, I'm gonna embalm whoever's being chased right now, and when they get down, immediately embalm, and we can get the 3-man escape, or even just a tie. It's kind of like, putting survivors near dungeons. So yeah, Embalmer will be a part of tie hunters to chair. Moving on will be Prospector. Prospector will also be a part of tie hunters to chair instead of niche. I will explain why he's not niche. Reason number one is no more flywheel on Prospector. Well, I mean, you could still run flywheel on Prospector, but I don't think it's worth it anymore because you don't have pallet speed boost. So if you're being first chased right now, you have to only rely on like one magnet or even just 2 magnets. I don't think that's enough. Right, I genuinely don't think that's enough. Early game, if you're being chased first, you only have 1 magnet. Can you continue until your second magnet comes out? Really depends on you, but chances are, I would give you 40% of the time that you can, right? 40% of the time that you can definitely do it. But by the time your second magnet comes out, you probably get blinked down. He doesn't really have a rebound kite potential if he uses that second magnet though, or unless they decide to rescue after half. Then of course, you know, his third magnet definitely is ready. So then it simply just means, hey, come at me. Come at me, I'll see if I can rebound kite or not, which is why he's a part of Tidehunter Seer. Another reason why he's a part of Tidehunter Seer is because if he's not first chased and if he does come to harass, usually they, you know what, they genuinely speaking usually harassed like after first rescue, or well after second rescue, along with the second rescuer coming in to stall for time, right, for the last cipher to be done. But if they do plan on doing that when there's only 2 ciphers remain, then that's kind of bad. Then that's kind of bad because your cipher's not really done. And you're just basically hoping that you can harass the hunter and balloon rescue well. So then your survivor who's on chair can rebound kite instead of being returning back to the mainer. There's also the other aspect of excitement as well. If they do decide, if the prospector does decide to come and harass a little bit later on, of course they can harass after the first rescue. But once again, ciphers. Like if they fail to harass, then oofus doofus, but if they do manage to harass, then that's great, that's a niche and above. But hunters really can't counter you. A lot of hunters know how to counter you to a certain extent, so you need to be really careful there as well. With the fact that if you do bring flywheel, maybe you can harass a little bit longer, but if you don't bring flywheel, the chances of you harassing longer is really low. I think it's really low, to be honest. Prospector is a little bit self-sufficient and he does decode a little bit faster because, you know, of the calibration thing, just because he gets perfect calibration more easier. Yeah, that's basically it for Prospector. He also ties Hunter to the chair because of his like second chase potential. If he second chase his 3 magnets, he can guarantee you a 60-second kite, a 40-second kite at least. Okay, let's just say a 40-second kite at least with 3 magnets. 1 magnet every like 12 seconds. Okay, let's just say he guarantees a 40-second kite at least. I don't think they're gonna use 1 magnet every like 12 seconds. I think that's highly unlikely, especially with the fact that there's chairs and windows nearby for them to use. But you know, you never know. With the benefit of the doubt, let's just say 40 seconds. So yeah, Prospector is a part of Tidehunter Seer for this one. Ench is also Tidehunter Seer. Ench went down. Ench went down a lot. Reason number one is Ench's harass went down. I'm happy that her harass went down because of the debuff. She gains stacks of curse slower now when there's survivors nearby, so when she comes to harass because of that, it's going to be a little bit harder for her to do. She's going to get stacks way slower, right? And usually the time when Ench does come harass is when the survivor downs really far away from the chair and the Ench is near you to try get like 1 stack of curse. So then like in the hopes of she stuns you down and then she manages to body block you. But I guess at the end of the day, the chances of the survivor rebound kiting is pretty darn low. So I'd say it's really darn low. And you're exchanging it for the fact that you're getting a hit, but you're getting an extra stack because of a hit. But once again, really darn low. Really darn low. She has that very tiny, insane bit rebound kite potential, harass potential. But not really. Not really. I'm saying Ench's Tidehunter Seer as well, just because as well, you know, if she decides to not use her 3 stacks and she's chaired, you can definitely rescue her before half. Her rebound kite potential is definitely high. It's definitely really darn high. So she isn't someone really to be looked down on. You need to take her stacks with precaution as well, because it is quite long stacks, but also, you know, addiction, rage. It's kind of the same reason why Prospector is in Tidehunter Seer now. But mischievous. Yeah, okay, aside from those two, let's move on to Wildling. Wildling will be Espresso Espresso, sorry, yeah. He's currently falling out of the meta, in which I'm very happy about. Now, why is Wildling a part of Espresso Depresso? Wildling is basically just off the rescuer list now because A, you can't force him to get on board, And then second time he gets on board, it's 40 seconds. So first time on board is 50 seconds, second time on board is 40 seconds, third time on board is 30 seconds, and then 20, 20, 20 afterwards. Or just 30, 30, 30 afterwards. So you can basically juke him to go on board, and then like you don't have to really worry about him harassing you anymore after after his first rescue. One of the reasons is mischievous. One of the reasons really is mischievous. Because if you think about it this way, right? You have a Wu Chan who can catch up to a Wildling fast enough to land a hit on him, and then basically immediately teleport back and pick the survivor up with mischievous. So even if he does come and push you back with the Moodle, you're going to be pushed back. But like the survivor who's on balloon is still gonna stay on balloon. Same with Gala, same with Bonbon, same with Geisha, same with BQ, same with a lot of hunters in general, to be fair with you. Right, so like Wildling just went down the meta a lot because of this. I wouldn't say like his balloon rescue is worse than Forward, it's worse than Prospector, it's worse than Enchantress, it's worse than Cowboy. Yeah, and like his decoding debuff may be reduced from 30% to 25%, but at the end of the day, he's more of a harasser. But you know, as a hunter main, I'm happy he went down. I'm happy he's not part of meta anymore. I'm genuinely very happy. Genuinely speaking, very happy. But of course, his harass can't be good when it comes to like rebound kiting. I don't disagree, but once again, chance of that happening very close to none, not gonna lie with you on that part. So yeah, he's really a part of Espresso Depresso. I wouldn't be even saying team dependent, because hunters just know how to counter him now by this point. Moving on, we'll have Acrobat. Acrobat will be a part of niche as well. It's because he's self-sufficient to a huge extent. He can gain like he has 3 balls, but he can gain 1 ball by rescuing, another one by decoding 150% of ciphers, and another ball by containing for 60 seconds. We know there are areas in Moonlit in which he contains really well. We know in areas in Leo's in which he contains very well. I don't really have to say much. I think it's just the fact that he can lock hunters skills when it comes to rescuing the chair, which is really nice against a Bonbon or Gala. He can slow hunters down with his mud ball when he puts it in between choke areas, which is very nice as well. And he can put his snowball like when he can put his snowball when he goes over a window as well, so hunter ball slower as well. I think it's just like Acro is like a jack of all trades but master of none, because he can't really, you know, harass forever. He can't really do perfect rescues, and he also can't really decode fast, but he's able to do a bit of everything, in which I think it's really nice. He's definitely a very good kiter as well. He's definitely a very good rescuer. He's not that much of a harasser. His only support comes from his mud ball or his snowball. That's about it. Or his red ball. Well, all his balls do come in handy with support, but again, you know, at the end of the day, not a master of anything, just a jack of all trades. So yeah, Acrobat will be a part of niche. He can definitely contain 60 seconds, by the way, definitely. Moving on, we have First Officer. First Officer will also be a part of niche as well when it comes to the rescuing community. First Officer is kind of like a merc. Whenever First Officer uses his Poseidon watch, he gains an 8% decoding speed boost, and also during his Poseidon stay he gets a 10% movement speed boost. So I just think that that's really helpful when it comes to, like, you know, rescuing from very far away if the hunter decides to stop you somewhere. It's also the fact that First Officer now, whenever he's in Poseidon stage, even if he gets hit, he'll stay in Poseidon stage, and then, you know, he can tap the watch again, still at half health, but like, you know, he's not wasting any extra watches just because he got hit first time. He doesn't really get punished because of that. The only time he really gets punished is when he's at half health and he gets hit, and then he gets like his 5-second tight turn time. If you can't reach the chair during that time, then oof. But usually First Officers, First Rescuers, even if you get for the first time, getting your 5-second tight time and then activating your watch again, if you get hit for the second time, you still have that 5-second tight time. It's brilliant. So it's not like you can't really rescue. It's not like you can't rescue unless it's after half. But compared to Merc, if he gets Terror Shocked on chair, he can't rescue. He doesn't activate that high time. So yeah, he's a very strong rescuer. A very like stable rescuer. Very, very stable rescuer. Moving on, we'll have Barmaid. Barmaid will be also a part of niche now, but I'm gonna put Barmaid a little bit more on low niche. Because of the fact that the persona trait has been debuffed, has been nerfed, Barmaid now cannot bring Flywheel, which palette speed boost, which means Barmaid has to choose between either palette speed boost or Flywheel, right? And it's because of that as well, I think, in a nutshell. It's just hard, because if you see a Barmaid Vault palette and there's no palette speed boost, then you know she has Flywheel. But because she has Flywheel, then it means that you can get a hit early on and you can get a second hit really darn fast, or even if you can't, or even if the Barmaid does manage to heal up very fast, if they do manage to heal up, it's not like it's gonna take you to get the other 2 hits a long time, because like she doesn't have anything to transition between unless she gets a hit. So it should be at least a guaranteed blink down to a certain extent, right, for Barmaid. I know Barmaid does have that speed of lane as well, but you know, if she has Flywheel, then there's really no point. There's like, it doesn't really do too much against you. But if the Barmaid has vaulting speed buff, then you can at least tell yourself, hey, she doesn't have Flywheel, great, time to down her. Especially when you are a high mobility hunter as well and you see Barmaid like putting distance, you're like, oh great, she doesn't have Flywheel, whew, lovely, I don't have to bait out Flywheel anymore. So yeah, Barmaid will still be a part of niche though. I still do think that she counters, you know, Mary, she basically counters single hit hunters quite a bit, chip hunters as well, but that's only when she gets chipped and she immediately heals right there and then gets another doubling. Of course, I can understand that action because, you know, she does counter chips hunters. She also does counter single hit hunters, but not as much this season, thankfully, because of the survivor persona nerf. But she's still a part of niche, but just a little bit of a low niche. Right, not better than female dancer, not better than perfumer, not better than magician, maybe better than magician, maybe she could be better than magician because of the global, because like she can feed Wildling to the survivors, except for TME Cordy, little girl, because of age restriction issues. But yeah, she probably is better than magician. You know what? She probably is better than magician. Moving on, we will have Postman. I would put Postman on very low niche, right? He is not that valid. He's not that valid anymore. Why? Like, he can contain well, he can give, like, because of his letters for the like, you know, global support, that's why he's on niche. He also has his dog Wick to help him contain a little bit longer, and he also can give himself boosts as well to help him contain a little bit longer. The problem with Postman now, in which he's like really in low niche as a supporter now, is because of the fact that the decoding buff letter has been reduced from 20% to 10%. That's the only reason why. Like, the dungeon letter didn't really do much, but the decoding letter did a lot to him. He can definitely still contain, he can definitely still give letters, but it wouldn't be as good as, you know, the 20% decoding buff now compared to the 10%. It's still a 10% decoding buff, of course. He can definitely still contain for quite a bit because, you know, Wick 45-second cooldown and is able to bite hunters when they either, you know, go through narrow areas or when they, you know, destroy pallets. Still quite valid because of the global buff, but not as much as, you know, female dancer, I would say. Moving on, we will have Gravekeeper. Gravekeeper would be a part of niche as well when it comes to the rescuing community, and to be fair with you, even if you do say that Gravekeeper gives presents, at least when Gravekeeper is in shovel form, he can contain for a long time. Reason 1 is he moves 10% faster. Reason 2 is because of the shovel form, whenever he's down on the ground, he can basically bait the hunters in thinking he's actually in this direction when he's actually not. And it's also the fact that, like, you would argue Bonbon counters him, but that's only Bonbon. That's genuinely speaking only Bonbon counters him. Gala wouldn't counter him that much because he can just, like, imagine kiting a Gala phase 1 and still getting chipped when you have a 10% movement speed boost. Highly unlikely. It will still happen, but highly unlikely to happen. Genuinely speaking, very highly unlikely to happen. It's also the fact that he counter single hit hunters a lot with that shovel when it comes to rescuing, or even chip hunters in general as well. Whenever Gravekeeper gets out of burrow, he gets a 50% rescuing speed buff for 5 seconds. What does that mean? Terror Shock is highly unlikely. Imagine getting 50% speed buff when it comes to rescuing, and there's also a 40% speed buff on the Persona web. 90% speed buff on rescuing. You're not gonna get Terror Shocked, fam. The chances of you getting Terror Shocked against single hit hunters are so low. It's like a 0.01% of you getting Terror Shocked, genuinely speaking. And like, it's also the fact that like hunters are scared, right? And I'm gonna say this from a hunter POV. If we hit you out of burrow, we know that you're gonna be able to rescue damage free, and we know that you're gonna be coming back to rescue again instead of someone else, and we know that you're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna go into shovel form now after I'm coming into full rescue, get a normal hit. Oh, rescue, go straight into shovel and start body blocking and start rebound kiting. We know that you're gonna do that. That is scary for us. That is very scary for single hit hunters, I won't lie. But like, chasing him wouldn't be too bad, but also it does take quite a bit of time. He can at least guarantee, like, you know, 70-second kite, I would say. If he's using his shovel form, he can at least guarantee that, right? But like, even if you bait his shovel, it doesn't really matter. Pourquoi? Why? Because unlike First Officer, if he gets out of his shovel early, then it's not considered consumed, of course. So yeah, first Gravekeeper is pretty darn good. Moving on, we will have Prisoner. Prisoner will also be a part of niche as well, I would say. Prisoner is quite a good decoder when it comes to global connections, like, you know, finishing Rescuer Cypher off early so then they can decode a Nurse Cypher or go rescue before half. And the fact that he's able to stay within one really good area to contain in, also is a perk for him as well. He really doesn't have, well, I mean, he does regen his electrocution when he just regens his electrocution, right? They may say, oh, when there's no survivors, no ciphers left, he doesn't get his electrocution back. No, it's a global thing. If there's exit gates, even if all ciphers have popped, exit gates also considers as, you know, something to be decoded on, so he still replenishes his electrocution. His electrocution does help though, I won't lie, it really does help, especially with rebound kiting as well. It helps to a certain extent for you to rebound kite. It's also like, it's also replenishable as the time goes by. So like, you may say, okay, I use one, and then like on chair after the first rescue, I can use it again to a certain extent. But of course, good Prisoner Remains knows how to contain. Good Prisoner Remains also know that they don't have vaulting debuff similar to Mech and TME. Good Prisoner Remains also knows, you know, basically how to utilize their stuns well. So for Good Prisoner Remains, he is niche when it comes to like the decoding society, I would say. He's pretty darn good. I wouldn't say he's bad, especially with area selection mode as well. Just choose him in graveyard and he can contain you for 60 seconds for ya. Choose him in hospital, containing 60 seconds for ya. Choose him in graveyard in church, 60 seconds for ya. Choose him in God Kite, 60 seconds for ya. Choose him in factory, 60 seconds for ya. And even if the hunters are gonna go after them, it's almost always guaranteed a 60-second kite just because of the fact that it's such good containing areas as well, you know. So yeah. Moving on, we will have Entomologist. Entomologist is still a part of niche. I will put her I will put Ento above Dancer. You know what? No, I'm putting Ento above Acrobat. Ento herself can put honey. Yeah, she can place honey on whatever she vaulted, pallets, windows, etc. So whenever a survivor or herself vaults over that again, they gain a 10% vaulting speed boost, which I think is great. It's also the fact that Ento can contain because of the bees, Ento can also harass because of the bees, Ento can also support because of the bees. The 70% movement reduction really does hurt when it comes to a hunter, so they can't just walk through the bees, they have to at least hit it. And when the hunter hit it once, Entos can bait the hunter hit it for the second time and get the bees back, so then the bees doesn't really get consumed, or just dismantle the bees, like just disperse the bees, so then she keeps it, right? Ento can run anything. Ento can run flywheel, can run windows, can run tide, just because of the fact that her bees basically give her movement speed buff as well. So pretty darn good for Ento. I can't say much. She doesn't have that much of a debuff unless it's like, you know, healing, but like, who really cares? Healing, who really cares, right? Unless it's endgame and you're being slugged. But like, yeah, honestly, Ento is really good overall. I don't think that there's really much for me to explain. Whenever someone goes rescue, when Hunter's in attack animation, Ento can push the Hunter back, Ento can push the Hunter back when Cordy guns, but also you need to be careful of the fact that Ento's beats also blocks Cordy's guns, so be aware of that. Ento can also global support, Ento can also, you know, XYZ, decode, give speed buff, XYZ. She's also a really good container as well, so yeah, she's definitely a part of like really high niche for me. Moving on, we will have Painter. Painter will be part of team dependent for this one, and I'm gonna put it on high team dependent. I probably won't put Painter on Espresso Depresso. I think Painter is good to a certain extent, but I also think that he's bad to a certain extent, because Go Hunter knows that all you need to do is look back. Like, just put your back on Painter and he can't get any of his paintings, right? It's also a little bit dependent as well, because if Painter doesn't have paintings, he's basically useless. And what a Painter really wants is for the Hunter to chase him first, so that he can get paintings, and either, like, you know, he can rebound kite, or he can contain for at least 2 paintings and then get a blink down. But the problem also with Painter is the fact that once he gets his painting and gets his first painting out, because of the, I think, 12-second cooldown, Hunter can usually blink you down, and when they blink you down, during tight time you cannot paint when you get hit. So that's a little bit of an annoying part. So Painter has little to no rebound kite potential, which is why he's a part of Tight Hunter's chair, in my opinion. It's unlike, you may argue, you know, Painter will just walk towards the Hunter to get painting. Yeah, that's why it's team dependent, you see, because the survivor has to contain until at least until 3 ciphers is done. Painter needs to go along with the rescuer if he doesn't have time to look at the Hunter's face, and then when he gets the Hunter's face, will the Hunter be looking at him? Probably not. Hunter will probably just be like facing his back on Painter and then hit the rescuer, and then you don't get the face. And then, like, if you really want the face that desperately, you will probably get hit as well. So is it really worth it? Probably not, which is why it's more team dependent. There's so much factors there for Painter that he needs to be considered of as well. I know you may say when Painter gets chased first, we can sell him. That's why I'm saying he's between the borders of Tight Hunter, Stitcher, and team dependent, but I'm saying more team dependent because does Hunter really want to chase the Painter first when he really doesn't have anything? Nah, not really. Moving on, we will have Batter. Batter will be also part of niche as well. Basically, the thing with Batter is Batter gets a movement speed buff whenever the survivor gets hit. So that's great to, you know, immediately rotate towards where the survivor is and start harassing. But also, I think it's just because of the fact that his balls are really darn good. I just think that his balls are really darn good when it comes to solo kiting as well. Batter is someone who can just bring flywheel and not worry about it. Ever, right? Because of his balls, because of his berserk, whenever he's in berserk mode, he vaults way faster. He also can stun the hunters when, you know, he's in berserk mode, and he can, like, reset the cooldown reduction for bat when bat is in cooldown. Like, you bat and then you berserk and then you get your cooldown done and then you cancel berserk's in your 40-second cooldown. Great, you can bat it again. And of course, because of flywheel as well, because of Weber's law, it does work really well on Batter. I genuinely think it works really well on Batter. The only problem probably is the fact that, you know, the only problem, like, the only difference between Batter and Forward is more like flexible compared to Batter, while Forward is more counterable now compared to Batter. So let me give you a hypothetical. If Hunter bring Mischievous, Batter can counter that. Batter can still counter that way better than Forward. But Forward is more reliant. Forward is, like, more flexible when it comes to Batter, because Forward can, like, move around tight areas easily, because, you know, that's a skill issue thing. But, like, with Batter, you can't really move around tight areas easily. Right, like, you may argue, oh, I can just, you know, angle myself on bat, but compared to a Forward, who's better at doing that? A Forward is better at doing that, right? So it's really like, what would be better? I don't know. But, like, when a Batter, like, and you know when the Batter hits, Hunter can basically destroy the ball. Batter has little to no ball remaining. When Batter uses Fury, or when Batter uses Berserk and hits the ball to stun the Hunter, that also consumes the ball. So Batter only has 3 balls and he needs to utilize that well. Meanwhile, Forward has a full ball, but he can, you know, utilize it to any extent he wants without worrying about his items going away. And it's also the fact that when forward has no items, he can go look for chest. Batter can't do that. Now, people may argue they should allow Batter to do that. I will say no, sorry. If you want Batter to do that, then remove Berserk. You need to remove Berserk if that's the case. You need to remove Berserk if that's the case. Same situation with Toy Merchant. If you have Catapult, if you want Toy Merchant to pick up items, remove the Catapult when you get an item. That's just what I think. Because Catapult is Toy Merchant's main item, and Berserk and the Bat and Ball is Batter's main item. So yeah, that's basically a little thing I'm just throwing in there as a little mini rant. That's just what I think, honestly. But of course, you may have different opinions, and I do respect that. But yeah, Batter will be a part of niche. Moving on, I know we skipped like Novelist is coming in soon, but moving on, we'll have Weeping Clown. I'ma put Weeping Clown to type under the chair, but probably here. Probably here. Oops, lost, that's my chair. I would say that Weeping Clown is niche, but I'm putting him in Tie Hunters to chair. Reason being the fact that I still need a little bit more analysis on him, right? I do get that, listen, Weeping Clown, one rocket, pull a long distance away, but like high mobility hunters counter that, right? So I don't think he's a part of niche. Weeping Clown can grab survivors who's can like harass from a long distance. I do agree with that. Very hard to do though. Weeping Clown can, you know, carry a survivor along with them and create distance. I do agree with that. But once again, high mobility hunters, chip hunters, bomb on remote control bomb, undead, geisha, XYZ, you know what I mean, really. He's not a part of team dependent, because him by himself he can definitely contain. He's a part of Tie Hunters' share. One reason is what we said as well, he can carry the teammate away, but I don't think you can do that during Titer, can you? I tried it before, but I don't think it worked. And the second reason really is, if Weeping Clown is a second chase, he can always almost guarantee you a 40-second kite, at least. Always almost guarantee you a 40-second kite at least. And he can potentially be one of the survivors that, you know, basically activates Hunter's Tinnitus and be near chair without having to worry about being hit, because he can just rocket away. Weeping Clown doesn't really have any debuffs. Does he have any debuffs? I don't think he has any decoding debuffs at all. I don't remember. As far as I'm concerned, I've been playing him a little bit as well. But he doesn't really have any debuffs. I think it's just the fact that his harass is very low. His containment may be high, but counterable to a certain, well, a huge extent, in my opinion. With the likes of Anne, the likes of Druid Witch. You know what I mean? Well, maybe Clerk can, maybe she can counter Clerk, but you know, you never know what hunter you're going up against. So yeah, Weeping Clown will be a part of Tie Hunters to check. Next we will have Little Girl. Little Girl is team dependent. She's really team dependent. Yeah, good Little Girls know how to kite, but also if Little Girl make one mistake, it's over for you. And it's also the fact that like she's team dependent is because she needs to rotate towards someone that can contain well, so then she can immediately bind onto the survivor, and then the other survivor has to contain well. But the problem with that is there's only 2 survivors left on the field decoding them, so that's a big problem for you. And also, whatever survivor the Little Girl binded to has to use their items to contain. So what we're saying now is there's only 2 people containing and there's 2 people decoding. The 2 who are decoding are basically using up all their items. If they don't contain well, then it's over for us because we don't have enough ciphers done. That's why Little Girl is a part of team dependent. Of course, you may argue, endgame, Little Girl, brilliant, 3 pages is able to rebound kite. Yeah, I know. That's also part of team dependent though, because it really relies on how your team plays. Like in tourneys, we can definitely see Little Girls coming out, but in rank, when there's like 4 duos, when there's like a team of 4, yeah, maybe that can also happen, but in high tier, there's 2 duos. There's no formatting in high tier, unless they basically, you know, unless they just like force it. You can force it by automatically disconnecting if it's not your other duo, and you won't get morality point deducted because you press ready but then you disconnect it immediately afterwards. Sadly you can do that, but you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Little Girl is quite team dependent in my opinion. She is good but very team dependent. Okay, now then it will be Novelist. I'm gonna put Novelist on Expresso Depresso, sorry. I don't think Novelist is, like, think about it this way, right? A thief and a Novelist, kind of the same thing, but I just feel like Thief is better. Novelist, you have to look at the Hunter's face, similar to Painter, right? But problem with Novelist is he doesn't have any other attributes other than that, right? At least Painter can be like, you know, I can rescue last second, and then I can rescue again without worrying him returning to the mainer. But Novelist, just don't look at him and then you're fine. Honestly, comparing to a Thief can shine the light at you and then you are basically forced to look at him by that point when that happens. And Thief's flashlight range is pretty darn long as well, so Thief is better than Novelist, Painter is better than Novelist. Novelist is a little bit off meta right now. You may argue that Novelist can basically contain for your teammates if they can't contain a certain type of hunter. I don't disagree, but still bad. Still bad. If Novelist is your second chase, he's downing very darn fast. If Novelist is your first chase, he is also downing very darn fast. A lot of hunters counter him. He only counters Geisha, I'm sure, but I'm sure even a Geisha main knows how to counter him. I won't lie, just by turning Geisha's back on a Novelist. So yeah, Novelist, nah, sorry. He doesn't really have, he can't contain, he decodes normally, but like that's kind of average. He also can't harass because just turn your back. That's all what it is required to counter a Novelist. He may be able to contain, but it's really darn hard. It's really darn hard. Like good Novelist, yes, I do understand, but like Novelist in general, nah, you're never gonna see him. Never ever gonna see him. Moving on, we have Psychologist. Psychologist will be a part of niche, probably above Female Dancer for this one. Global heal 8 seconds is great. Imagine pairing up with Seer. Annoying the hell out to deal with. Psychologist global heal is great. You know, if Mercenary goes to rescue, Psychologist can just whistle and Mercenary just rescue again and start body blocking. Maybe you can have 4-man, maybe you can get a tie. But because of, like, it's also the fact that Psycho can tank 3 hits. You may argue she can only tank 3 hits. Yeah, 3 hits is probably more than enough for you to get like a 60-second containment, I won't lie. Right? Because, let's be honest, Hunter take 10 seconds to look for a survivor. When they find a survivor, it probably takes like, hitting a Psychologist, probably, let's give the benefit of the doubt, 20 seconds for a Psychologist. And then, you're not allowed to hit the Psychologist for the next 30 seconds. Well, you are allowed to hit the Psychologist for the next 30 seconds, but you're not allowed to hit again because you need to wait for stress level to go. If stress level is still there, you're screwed. Because anyone without height can come rescue, and now what happens is Psycho is basically a 2-hit. Well, good luck, have fun, lad. Good luck, have fun, lad, with that. Psycho is a guarantee rebound Kai at least by that point, but she's also a guarantee 60-second Kai, blink force out from the Hunter. She's also she can also heal globally. I think that is great. 1 whistle, 8-second heal. That doesn't take too much time compared to like a 15-second heal or even a 25-second heal when it comes to a Merc. Oh, it's a 20-second heal when it comes to a Merc, I'm quite sure. But yeah, Psycho global heal. You don't need to meet up to heal. You don't need to do any of the jazz. You just blow a whistle, woo, and then that's it. For Psychologist, honestly. Really good in pro play, really good in rank, just good overall, I won't lie. I love playing her now. Moving on, we'll have Patient. Patient is also along the same caliber as Psychologist. 3 hooks, definite rescuer. 3 hooks, similar to Mercenary, but you know, in air. 3 hooks, like imagine 2-story hook away. That's strong, isn't it? Right? And it's also the fact that it's very similar to Mercenary. He can basically hook in, except for the fact that there's a chance that he can get turret shocked. But once again, he has high containment, he has high rescue, he has your average decoding. He's niche. If he doesn't use any of his hooks during his first kite before he, you know, he got chaired, he has a rebound kite potential with his hooks, honestly. So yeah, he's really just niche. I don't know what else I can say. We basically seen Tony plays how he does really darn well. So yeah. Moving on, Toy Merchant. Toy Merchant will also be niche, but I will be putting Toy Merchant a little below them. I'll be putting Toy Merchant below them. I think it's just the fact that Toy Merchant comes out in 2-story, like big maps / 2-story areas mainly, not in small maps. But of course, she can come out in small maps. It really just depends on the team comp and what they want to utilize to their best. But like, but like after toy merchants buff, you can see the catapult globally. You basically, when you jump the catapult, it doesn't get interrupted. You can still fly away. Toy merchant Leo Memory, we know how that goes. Toy merchant Moonlit, we know how that goes. Toy merchant Lakeside Village, we also know how that goes. Scary, isn't it? It's also the fact that like toy merchant can come assist. And, like toy merchant is very similar to patient. But it's just the fact that toy merchant can utilize, high, 2-story areas to get her catapult out. She can also use her catapult to support survivors to contain longer, and she can also use her catapult to come into rescue without getting hit before reaching to the chair. She can also deploy items down for the survivors to use immediately when they get off chair. That is, of course, if it is a survivor that can use items, which means Psycho can't do it, Prisoner can't, Postman can't, Batter can't, Acrobat also can't, female and I don't know who else can't. Let me see, Seer also can't, Priestess also can't, so it really depends on who is who. But like rescuer wise, very nice, very nice. I would say above average. Containment wise, very nice as well, also above average. Does she have any debuff? I think she has only vaulting debuff. She doesn't really have decoding debuff as long as I remember. But yeah, she's niche overall. Next would be Professor, if I'm not wrong, right? Professor would be a part of TIE Hunters to Chair, in my opinion, or probably low, like below Cordy. People may say no, probably should be higher, but like I feel like because of the fact that you can bait hits, and because of the fact that there's also Palum, there's also Gala, there's also Bonbon, there's also Undead, there's also Mary, there's also Clown, there's also GK, there's also Violinist, Nayad. A lot of them do counter Professor, right? The only good thing about Professor really is the fact that the attack animation is slower, so then it's lower chance of you getting terror shocked. But I just feel like his shell may be a little bit easier to counter / easier to bait out. Right, I know good professors know how to use their shells, but at the end of the day, he can at least guarantee you a 60-second kite, I'd say. He can at least guarantee you that. He by himself is pretty darn strong. He can at least guarantee you a 60-second containment. He can also guarantee a rebound containment, because if he didn't block any damage, it's a 45-second cooldown instead of a 70-second cooldown. So I think that's great, right? So then like when you get rescued, you'll immediately have your next shell ready, and if the hunter does decide to hit you, you can immediately shell out. Beautiful, great for you. But once again, not a part of niche because it doesn't really have anything. Not a good rescuer in my opinion. I wouldn't say he's a guaranteed good rescuer. Aside from the fact that he can avoid terror shocks, but he shouldn't really be rescuing in my opinion. He should be more like body blocking, or even more like containing / decoding. He shouldn't really be rescuing. He would be a TIE Hunter Stitcher, honestly. He doesn't have that much to utilize. He can't really do much except for body block, sadly. Let's see, next would be Antiquarian. Yeah, I'm not gonna say why. Put your hands up if you scared of Antiquarian. Me. Antiquarian got a debuff, but it doesn't really do much. You can still swing at least 5 times, so that's like 24 seconds disarm for you. Antiquarian is basically the epitome of, okay, you're about to basic attack, I swing first, because I swing faster than your basic attack, you're now disarmed, good luck, have fun, haha. Even if she misses even if she misses swinging you onto a wall, you basically get a 2-second slow debuff, and Antiquarian can still utilize that very well, honestly. There's also the fact that Antiquarian can just bring flywheel, so like Antiquarian kite-kiting you, yeah, there's walls around you, well, it's at least a guaranteed 60-second kite, bruh. It's at least a guaranteed 60-second kite. And it's also the fact that you may say her harass is not good. Oh, let me tell you how good her harass is. Imagine you have someone on balloon, you're going to the chair, Antiquarian, once that boom onto the wall, the survivor struggles free, you can't hit. Oh, boom, once again. Okay, now you're stunned once again, and you can't hit for another 2 seconds. Survivor starts running away, and then second one, boom, another stun. Oh no, survivor is now probably like 50 meters away from you. Good luck having catching up to that. Her harass is scary, I won't lie. It's also the fact that she can catch up to you very fast when when someone's on balloon because of the flip. That is also very scary. Her flip can also be used to fall through windows, so after Antiquarian disarms you, she'll stay next to a window. She won't vault the window though, she'll flip the window. she will flip the window and laugh at your face and say, haha, come at me, because you have to vault the window first before you come at me. And by the time you finish vaulting window, I'll be spinning my bamboo and I'll be so far away from you. Sorry, I'm ranting a bit here. Antiquarian is scary. She's a part of Priestess's friend. She can harass, she can support, she can decode. She doesn't have any decoding buff except for exit gates. I don't think that matters that much. She can. What can she do? She can also contain very well. Her containment is so darn scary. You could say Bonbon counters her. Yeah, definitely. But like when it's Antiquarian come to rescue against a Bonbon, one swoosh, all your carpet of bombs is gone. Ha ha ha, laughing in your face. Sorry, you can see all the trauma I'm having. So yeah, Antiquarian is definitely a part of Priestess and friends. Moving on, we will have Composer. Composer will be part of niche for me. I may be wrong on this one. A lot of hunters and survivors may say no, put him on Tie Hunter's chair. I'm gonna say niche, right? Reason one being, he can bring flywheel because his tuning is 50 seconds, which is basically, you know, how do I say? No, he doesn't need anything to get the speed boost, and he gets his speed boost for like 6 seconds, I think, which is pretty darn nice. 50% speed boost for 6 seconds, and all you need to do is tap the music notes. I don't think it's that hard. Genuinely don't think it's that hard. Just need a little bit of practice, and then you're fine. Similar to Forward. If we put Forward on S tier because he's hard and he's very good, then we can put Composer on niche because he's hard and he's very good. Not as good as Forward, of course, but like you need to consider the fact that like he can run flywheel, so Weber's Law is a thing on him. He can, and when he flywheels, he can immediately tune and go away, so that counters BQ to a certain extent. Right, wink, 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 Majesty, wink, wink, wink. But if he runs if he wants knee-jerk reflex, I just feel like, imagine a palace, and then after your palace speed boost, you use your tuning, and then after your tuning, you use a window speed boost. By that time, isn't your like palace speed boost almost ready? It's like 20 seconds left until your palace speed boosters are almost ready and you're so far away. Right? Question mark? But also you may say, hey, listen, if you're saying Weeping Clown gets countered by high mobility, Composer also does too. I won't lie, he does, but at least he can decode fast. Right? And like if he's not being chased, after he finishes decoding, he can immediately tune towards the next cipher, so then he doesn't have to traverse for a long time towards the next cipher. Right? Question mark. And also his rebound kite potential is high as well because of his tuning potential, since there is nothing required for him to use it. There's like no requirement for it, so he can immediately get rescue tune. Bye bye. So there's still a chance for rebound kiting. Right? Question mark. Right. So yeah, Composer will be niche for me. Am I missing any survivors here? Forward is already part of it now. I don't think I'm missing any survivor, but this is the survivor tier list for season 25 for those of you who are starting to rank now. By the time this video is out, it's probably March or late February. I'm very sorry. Animating the first part is really hard. It takes me a long time. I think it took me like an hour to animate like 15 seconds of very poor animation. I'm very sorry. But yeah, this is season 25 of Survivor tier list. We will see you in the 100 tier list. If you have any, rebuttal, argument, well, I don't like the word arguments, let's just say rebuttal, debate, feel free to comment down below. I will read it, of course, and then if I agree with you, I agree with you. If I have different opinions, I will say my opinions respectfully. I don't respect your opinion, of course. And of course, for now, this is all I have to offer you for today. And of course, I hope you have a good day and a good night, and I will see you on the 100 tier list then, sugar buns. Bye bye for now.